And then in early 25, could we have another medical event or something, as I outlined in the IPEC Go breakdown? In addition to everything else going on, right, as this election hack comes and it says, everyone should, stay safe, and all the televisions are prompting kind of emergencies, like, are we in lockdowns? Okay. And is there some sort of virus, or are people using pills to basically cope with this situation of this cyber attack and anarchy that's starting in America? After the first emergency alert on the blue screen, the next morning we get this Schumann resonance. Okay, the background picture changes, the black and white picture in the family room. And we move into the curve. Okay, this is part 2, where it's kind of I think it's going to be the downward curve of society. Okay, everyone's kind of locked down. I think the Schumann resonance with the picture, I think, is telling us that possibly the Schumann resonance or something is going erratic. As Rose goes outside, we see deers everywhere, and we even see a buck. Okay, so I think that in 2025, it's referencing this buck moon of July 8th, or could be. Okay, so giving us a time frame, kind of aligning up that, we're coping with drugs and alcohol as the family is doing, right? Drinking and everything to kind of cope with this strange lockdown situation. And it's going to last all the way into July of 2025. So this is, like I said, it's in part 2, the curve, and I think this is where anarchy sets in. I think it's GH that goes to the beach and sees all these planes that have fallen from the sky. He goes and sees his neighbors' houses are broken into. So is this kind of the war starting? Is the war kind of starting in America? We see drones delivering flyers. Well, it's a plane, but can we see drones delivering flyers to create even more anarchy? The D to America, thing that's on the flyers in the movie, Leave the World Behind. And is this where America retaliates based on this hack? They find out who the hackers are and retaliate by sending these bombers, right? I've covered in my previous part 5 breakdown where this attack might happen. So, So I think that this is the retaliation to them finding out who hacked America. The next scene that we have in Leave the World Behind is this white noise frequency. They walk to the cabin, right? And then they go outside and there's this kind of frequency attack. So I'm curious whether this frequency attack, this white noise, is a retaliation attack. Okay, like an FF, could be an FF also on the population, as I'm not entirely sure whether war is fought, I think it might all could be just contrived, okay? So then we move into the Tesla scene, where all these Teslas seem to be blocking these bridges. So the cyber attack gets worse. Are all these cars hacked? Obviously, it continues to break society down as there are power outages, et cetera, et cetera. We see Danny the Prepper that comes in here. So I think they're telling us that expect this by the end of 2025, that the preppers, this concept of prepping is needed. This is the situation we're going to fall into. Now, I found this very particular, part 4 we move into in Leave the World Behind is called The Flood. Part 4, and also when I covered 2026, I believe is the 4 horsemen, right, of the apocalypse that come. Okay, so I think part 4, 4 horsemen, very strange. I think the world descends right into the greatest war of all time. So I think in this scene where it shows the flooding is kind of the reference that in Leave the World Behind, it's everybody being affected, right? It doesn't matter where you are, everybody's going to be part of this war. After we get into part 4, Rose, the daughter, is talking on the bed about this drowned man, where he says this man was going to drown as these floodwaters were coming in, and his neighbors were telling him to leave, and he was like, no, I'm not going to leave. I believe in God. God's going to save me. And then there was a helicopter that came, and he said, no, I'm going to stay because I believe in God. And then he dies and drowns and goes up and sees God, and God says, well, I sent you so many warnings. What more could you want? I tried to save you. So then Rose says, I'm done waiting. It's a really strange thing. So I think this is kind of like a preemptive warning, which is meaning we better take heed now before it's too late. Like, there's how many more warnings can we see? Market crashes, the wars in the world, the starvations, the anarchy. I mean, can God offer any more warnings to people before people take a look and take heed now before it's too late? It's very funny that we see all these CEOs in the world exiting. This was a massive news story a couple of years ago. All these CEOs departing, and big bunker building around the world by elites. So we built the Seed Vault in, I think it's Norway. We've got these bunkers, underground bunkers being built by elites, the big deep underground military bunkers by the US, which, the stories of all of the underground tunnels. So is it preparing that there's going to be an anarchy on top of the surface, and they're going to have to go and hide, as we see in IPEC Go 2, where they go into their lighthouse and into their mountains to try and hide, as it's said in Revelations, right? I keep forgetting, I think, is it Seal 3 or 4 that is the 4 horsemen? And then after that, it's like they try and hide themselves from the wrath of God, right? So the elite seem to be prepping. And then this is, I think, one of the most telling parts of this movie. It's where the dad and daughter, GH and his daughter, are laying in bed and talking about what to do now. This is hour 137, I think, into the movie, in case you want to go see it. So this is kind of the dialogue between each other, right? So she says, if the world falls apart, trust can't just be doled out easily to anyone, especially to white people. We are sleeping for the second night in our basement. Just what exactly was the point of letting them back into the house? And then GH says, it was the right thing to do. She says, and that right there is the thing that is going to F us in the end. Okay? So I think this concept is referencing, it's very strange that she explicitly says white people and then the White House. So I think she also references the second night that she's in the basement. So bringing this back, sorry if this isn't too clear, but bringing it back, I think this references to the re-election of a white person into the White House, okay, where it's the second time that they've let this white person into the White House, and that right there is what is going to F us in the end. Okay, like letting them back into the House so a previously elected president will return. A previously elected president that would be able to return, I mean, there's only really one. So very strange. And at this point, we see this strange lunar eclipse in the movie. It's not a solar eclipse. We're on the moon. We're looking at the Earth eclipsing the sun, right? So is there a CME? It kind of lights up. I think this is just referencing us, giving us a time frame that now we're into March 3rd of 2026, which is the total lunar eclipse. And this is what we're going to basically be in for the next, few years, right? Then comes the illness. So the kid wakes up and his teeth are falling out. And again, in the background, the picture in the family room changes again, and it's even more erratic. So again, is the Schumann resonance changing, or is it actually a attack? Is it natural, or is it, or natural? Okay. So it's not like this technology doesn't exist. They've had this technology to be able to make sonic weapons, etc. So, not sure. And then basically Civil War just descends in Leave the World Behind. At that point, after the illness, GH's daughter is out with the mother, and they look into the city, and basically there's bombs dropping, guns going off, helicopters, and Civil War. So separation into factions. I think the actual controllers will just wait it out. The bunkers are all there ready. And as we move into 2027, which I think shown here, right? People are going to be seeking camps for aid. And we're going to be jumping into the GOAT, the greatest war of all time. And bringing this all back to this kind of population reduction, which has been broadcast by, pretty much Bill Gates, Deagle Report, George Guidestones, Greta Thunberg, anybody that wants to talk about how to fix the world, it's all about this. So they seem to have a plan. We can see the numbers, right? Everyone's maybe seen this Deagle Report. If not, you could take a look here at what has been kind of predicted by this website, which was kind of strangely put out. This is a prediction for 2025, which kind of lines up pretty nicely with everything. And then we have the Guidestones with keeping population under, a certain 500 million. So thank you so much. I hope this wasn't too painful to watch. Sorry, it's just a lot of effort to going through making these, and I can't take print screens of the movie, so thank you.